Hello, everybody,
Ian.
and welcome back to the Chill Gamers podcast. We're going to start today with Ian, myself. We have Aaron.
Hey, everybody.
We have Maze or Blue.
That's me.
Defaced.
Yo, what's up?
Jimmy.
How you doing?
And Greg.
Hello.
So last week we got on about streaming and consoles and that whole shenanigan thing, and I think it went over pretty well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Had some
Not
good
bad for a
discussions.
first
Had some
podcast.
good rants.
I learned a
So-
lot.
Definite growing pains.
Along with the new consoles
They're-
coming out, new GPUs coming out. I don't know if you guys are looking, but one of the new things I seen were it looks like new gen games are going to start costing $70. How do you guys feel about that?
That's
My
almost
wallet is-
$10 more than they cost
Mhm.
before.
My wallet is crying.
Well, it really sucks being a PC player because you're like, well, why is this affecting me?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's just going to be, I mean, it's the same thing. Technology moves along and people adapt with it. It's one of my biggest gripes has always been the 3.5 millimeter jacks on new phones. Apple took them out in like
Oh, God.
version 7, and my newest Galaxy, the Galaxy Note 10 that I have, it's gone. I was looking at the Google Pixel 4, it was gone. It's just they're just gone now. I
My
would
Pixel 2 doesn't have it.
For
You
10
know,
extra
I
bucks,
would-
you can have a jack.
seriously, I would pay an extra $50 for a phone with a 3.5 jack. I would.
I agree completely.
I miss it so much.
Yeah, I switched to Google Fi and I got their Moto G Power, and thankfully it has a 3.5 millimeter jack, so I'm happy with it.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure how I was going to like it, or rather dislike it, but the way how inconvenient this is, my next phone, I'm probably not going to go for a flagship like I usually do. I'm going to end up picking, some Motorola or something.
So, how do you think that $70 price tag is going to affect like the smaller indie stuff? You think they'll just do the same jump, like $40 versus a $30 kind of game?
I mean, that's kind of interesting, really. I think indie stuff, I honestly think that'll remain pretty consistent with like lower, but I mean, I think it'll still be roughly same price as being a little bit lower prices, a lot of them. I don't think it'll affect it as much. I don't know. Because usually they're not using all the same, the huge cut scenes and all the other stuff that are going to raise the prices by the new gen softwares and all this stuff that they're talking about.
I think there's going to be a few developers that are going to take advantage of it. 100%.
Mhm.
I think it's actually going to go the opposite. Not the opposite way in terms of developers. I think we're going to have a decrease in new game sales. I'm certainly not going to buy new games for $70.
It's tough to, because right now you get hyped for a game, it comes out and it doesn't live up to the hype or something. How many times have I pre-ordered a game the last couple of years and then I'm like, why did I should have waited? Like, investing $60 on a game isn't crazy, but it's tough to do when the game doesn't live up to the hype that you think it should have.
Right.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, how is
Yeah,
it going to affect pre-orders? I mean, because your investment is higher, it's harder to take the leap.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still think
That's true.
if it's a game I've been looking forward to forever, like Cyberpunk or something like that, I think I would still take the jump with it if that was going to be a raised price,
Yeah.
But other games where I'm like kind of looking forward to it, but I'm not 100% sold, I would probably won't.
You're breathtaking.
You're
You're breathtaking.
But
So do you
Okay.
think it could push people away from indie people? Because like if you have a brand new up and coming company, they don't have that kind of trust where people will say, I will still pre-order or I will still pay a premium because I know what they have is good. So I wonder if it might hinder their income.
What about like the first title that it's announced for is the remake of Demon Souls? How do you feel about paying $70 for a remake of a game?
I feel horrible.
Not doing it.
The game looks
I
amazing.
know-
Don't get me wrong.
Defaced and I have actually had a brief discussion on this, but I mean, it's a re-release of a PS3, PS2 game.
3.
Did it start on the PS3?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Demon Souls came out on PS3. They made some series before that though on PS2. I don't remember what it was called. King's something. I don't know.
Kingsfield.
Yeah, that.
Kingsfield. Okay.
How much was Resident Evil 2? And wasn't The Last of Us that was
35.
remastered, wasn't it?
35
The
for
last-
Resident Evil 2?
Yeah, 35 for Resident Evil 2.
No, I
What about
thought
The
they
Last
released
of
it
Us?
at a
Wasn't
full
that
60.
wasn't that a remaster on PS4?
Yeah, that came out as full price. But Resident Evil 2, actually, I haven't played it, but from what I remember hearing about it, was that actually came out with some new content involved into it too. It wasn't
Well, and
exactly the same.
The
It
thing
also
about,
has the gameplay overhaul.
yeah, the thing about that's what I was about to say, Aaron, is the thing about those games is like Dark Souls, Demon Souls is going to be so much more fluid. Everything looks gorgeous. Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, the remakes, I mean, you got rid of the tank controls. The game played just smooth as butter, and it was beautiful to look at. Whereas I understand you're paying essentially for a brand new experience. It's like Hollywood re-releasing a movie 20 years later. Are you willing to basically see the same story again for that price point? And that's going to be opinionated based on the person. I mean,
Right.
don't get me. There's tons of people that are salivating at the lips for this Demon Souls remake to come out.
So when a big time developer comes out with a game like this and they tell me we need to justify the $70 price tag because our production budget has gone up, and you're remaking a game that's already had a story that's in place, and that part of your budget is no longer part of your actual budget. So how do you justify that price increase when it's a remake? You know, the creative aspect of it isn't as much there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying that remakes are, in terms of games, I don't even call them remakes; they're more remasters.
I
usually
think
pretty good.
Demon Souls is a remake. I don't think it's a remaster by any stretch of the
Well,
imagination.
Demon
There are
Souls is
some-
actually they're adding new content, which I know you had some interest in talking about, Jimmy.
yeah, I'll
why
get
don't
going.
you? Yeah,
Want me
why
to
don't
go?
you? Yeah, why don't you tell me what you found for Demon Souls? Because I know you've been looking at that one, and I was curious about that as well.
Personally, I never played Demon Souls before, so from my point of view, it looks like an amazing game. The only thing that really irritates me is the fact that it's exclusive to the PS5, and we can get into that topic, but I'm not buying a console just for Demon Souls.
Yep.
When I can go back and play it on the PS3 and probably just get as much enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, right.
But according to what I did research, there has been a lot of stuff that was in the original Demon Souls that was not released with the game that has been fully data mined, fully structured by the community. And in the latest gameplay trailer that was released at the Sony Play event, what they did find is that so the way the leveling system works is you go to like this headstone piece. Now I've never played the game, so I can't really do it justice. But you go to this headstone piece and you use that to travel between the worlds, essentially travel around the big world.
Yep,
And there was
yeah,
this next headstone that was slashed in half, and they were hoping and praying that this headstone was going to be fully restored so that you could get to the last piece of cut content. And apparently, from what I'm understanding, is From Software doesn't want Bluepoint to do that. They want to be the one that if they decide to add it in later at DLC, it is controlled entirely by From Software, but Bluepoint would be the one to implement the system, but to be the one to implement the content into the game, if that makes sense.
It's kind of like what the developers of Shadows of the Colossus did.
Yep.
They added that last like unlock for like some sword or something that they didn't put in the last one, but they left clues to like in like the original game to find it.
See, going back to what Jimmy said earlier, it's interesting.
It is
We
interesting.
have, but that's the thing. The $70 target price for a remake now, for old veteran players of like the Soul series, might not have as much value because again, we've already been through it all. Like we were saying before, is how much do you want to pay? Are you willing to pay full price for a game that's already out? Jimmy has never played Demon Souls. To him, essentially, it is a brand new game. So re-releasing with the full price tag, you're getting a new market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, I mean, for that game in particular, the console exclusivity. But if it transitions, like right now, from everything I've been reading, this seems like a Sony idea. And this is not a new thing. They actually pushed this idea with the PS4, and GameStop of all people were the ones to hold up. You're gonna be cutting into our base here of people who come in and pre-order games, and they pre-order games at a specific price. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest, because inflation, it's bound to happen. But is this the right time?
I feel like
think
that's
the
like a completely
generation
different
marks.
topic.
Yeah.
That might come with the generation. I don't think it's so out of left field. Plus, they'll tell you that it's been since 2006 they've had the same price. So I wouldn't argue that it's the wrong time.
If we're talking about prices and stuff still, I'm curious to see if more games try to go back to I mean, a lot of games have had success with doing a free-to-play with season passes and such. I'm curious if we'll see more games like that start coming out with $70 price tag if the market's struggling to sell these games at release. If we'll start seeing more games that are free-to-play with a season pass or cosmetics that they push.
Well, it's kind of like what they did with Game Pass.
Yeah.
Flight Sim.
Yeah.
Flight Sim was a brand new game. You got the $60 version for how Game Pass was
Crusader
$5
Kings
at the
3.
time.
10 or
Crusader
15
Kings.
a month.
I have both Crusader Kings and Flight Sim 2020 installed. Those are two $60 games that I paid $5 for both.
I mean, Microsoft's still like buying people up, so I mean,
Which, yet again, isn't going to help anything.
or
It's just going to make the other companies have to compete even harder.
competition is always good.
I agree.
Something I'm surprised about. I talked with Aaron a little bit before about free-to-play games and such. Something I'm surprised about was Fall Guys was a huge success, obviously, and they did a different model than the free-to-play and just charge for a season pass. They went with you pay $20, you get the game, and you get all the battle passes, which seems like a backwards plan because if you did battle pass or season passes, $10 typically is what you see most games. 2 seasons of people paying that equals the game. So it's kind of weird that they did it that way. I wonder if we'll see anyone else try to do something similar to that as well. So I've never seen anyone else use that type of strategy for a game.
Yeah. So call me cynical. I love the idea personally of giving the bigger upfront investment to get that long-term value, but does that mean Fall Guys 2 is going to come out a year earlier than it would have? You know what I mean?
True.
I mean, to be completely honest, Fall Guys has kind of fallen off the map in terms of Among Us has just taken its place.
Regardless, game prices are going up. That's just the new generational thing. With the new Demon Souls, that's interesting. Jimmy, if you have anything else on that?
No, not that I can think of.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, new game prices, man. They're just going to go up.
Seems like free games are here to stay, though.
I mean,
I
then you
do
got other people like Epic coming out and offering Rocket League for free, trying to bring people over from Steam.
I must admit, I never understood the free-to-play model until you get into some of these games where, like, I'm going to bring up my game of the week. I play Heroes of the Storm religiously.
We're gonna do that at the end.
Oh, okay. Then cut that.
Yeah.
Caught it.
Sorry.
Well, you can still talk about it.
My reasoning on why I fell in love with the game was because I love the playstyle of the game, and it just made me want to invest myself so much more, and I wound up spending probably way over $60 in that game. So they got their purchase price out of me eventually. It just wasn't all up front. and I didn't know what I was getting. I got to enjoy the game before I decided if I want to invest further in the game. And I love that model, as long as it's not abusive. There are some of these free to play games that are very abusive.
Right.
I think it's more abusive for most people. Not talking about those people you just mentioned that just like with the gambling and loot
Oh,
boxes
yeah.
and whatever the addictive
Yeah.
part of it. Not just leaving that part out, but the free to play model versus someone paying $70 now for a new game that nobody's ever played.
Mhm.
And not knowing if you'll get that enjoyment out of it versus
Right.
having
So-
no cost up front and then paying what you
So what
feel
about
is
something
fair.
like Rocket League, where it has loot boxes and stuff, and they change the economy of the entire game so that it can be free to play?
Well,
Like,
I
How would
as
that work out?
I think I'm the biggest Rocket League guy in here. I think what justifies it. Okay, the biggest current one, Greg. I think what justifies a lot of their modeling, the battle pass, like I've subscribed to it for the last year or so, or basically as long as it's been out. So I think it's a very simple game, and it's got a good gameplay loop that is very short and sweet and to the point, easy to pick up, hard to master. That if you can get that gameplay loop like Fall Guys, if you get that done really well, then the free to play battle pass method is perfect for it.
Yeah,
That's why I think
games
they
like
can
that-
kind of do whatever they want.
I think games like that work because it's like a sport. Like people don't get tired of baseball or football.
Right.
Right.
That's why
And-
FIFA, NBA, NFL or Madden, whatever
Yep.
change the name to it, they sell every year new content.
Yeah.
They shut
Well-
it down.
Speaking of being able to decide the market to face, how about Microsoft? They're talking about buying up more companies.
Oh yeah. Something popped up on my phone earlier today. Because a while back there were some rumors about Microsoft just flat out buying Bungie again, or not again, but I guess just buying. And then what is his name, Pete Hines or whatever, was like, no, we're not going to do it. The president of Bungie, he's like, nope, that's false. But then apparently something popped up on like, I don't know, some like job posting site. Apparently there's one position that every company in who's had a recent acquisition, Bungie has opened up that one particular position. So the rumors are kind of spreading around again that they actually are going to get bought up by Microsoft again, or somebody. They're going to get bought up by somebody. But yeah, that would just be another one under Microsoft's curtain.
Mhm.
They've
Well,
had so
that's
much history with Microsoft. It's crazy to think about them going back.
What's interesting to me, because Bungie was super excited when they finally broke away from Activision. Like, they were super excited about that. So it'd be weird to me to see, because they want to be their own thing again. It would be weird to see them go back to being, absorbed or whatever you want to say by a bigger company again. After this just happened, I want to say, a year and a half ago, that they were able to break away from Activision. That was a huge thing for them, and what they thought would be going forward for Destiny is breaking away from them and being able to do what they want to with the game going forward without
Right.
other people helping oversee it.
Corporation Services Company Agent apparently is what the role is called. But
Okay.
apparently every major acquisition has it. Apparently, I don't know. And now apparently Bungie has it, so somebody's buying them.
So
Yeah.
they're looking at
Right.
someone. I know last week we talked about Microsoft buying. Who did they just buy?
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Well, ZeniMax.
And
ZeniMax.
ZeniMax, the umbrella studio.
Yes.
Yes.
So they had also mentioned that they were not done buying more companies. So
As is the way.
that's,
Right.
This is the way.
Just let
This is
them
the
buy
way.
BioWare and save them from EA.
well, I mean,
It's just Microsoft going back to their old bully tactics of the '90s. Honestly,
when was the last? Because Bungie and Microsoft worked together for when was the last Halo?
was it Reach?
Yeah, did Bungie do?
Reach.
Would they end on 3 or Reach?
Ended
I
on
don't-
Reach.
Maybe
Ended on Reach.
Yeah. Because four was 343.
right.
But
Right,
but
but
they
what-
basically wrote the story of 4 for them and handed it off.
Hmm.
They set it
No,
all up.
Swing and a miss on that one, but
with the bigger companies buying some of these other ones, do you think it'll affect some of the games that we see? Like when BioWare was bought by EA, any big BioWare fan in the past will say that their games went downhill ever since EA
Mhm.
took them over, and I would agree with it because I was a huge Mass Effect fan. Trilogy, that's favorite games, and
Hence your
I mean,
avatar.
they did buy it when the second Mass Effect after that was made, and they were involved with the third one. But then they came out with Anthem, that was a dud. Mass Effect Andromeda, which wasn't that bad, but it was a dud for selling wise and such. So I'm curious to see if some of these bigger, if we see them lose their, I don't know, some of the big corporations sometimes it's just more about money than what
Some of
the
their
game is gonna.
autonomy. Sorry.
So I'm interested to see how that'll kind of affect some of the games that we see.
Right. So I think one thing that I don't think I hear a lot of people talking about with it, and I think it's fairly important for those of us who were born in the 80s and lived through the 90s and the PC stuff of the mid to late 90s when OpenGL and DirectX 12 was a thing. Like, or DirectX period was a thing. There was a big battle between Microsoft and Open Standards back then. And like when they bought ZeniMax, they bought Elder Scrolls. They have it. They bought all these other games, but the one company that comes to mind to me is id, and id is the biggest developer, one of the biggest developers of Vulkan titles on the market right now. And I feel like part of the strategy of buying ZeniMax was to take one of those companies off the market so that they don't have to worry about Vulkan competition anymore, which is something they have definitely been known to do in the past. Especially, I think we all remember Netscape and Internet Explorer and that crap. So that's just one thing I don't see a lot of people
use Internet Explorer.
You don't use Edge?
I do.
Does it put you on the edge?
It does.
Didn't they rename it something else?
No, they
Edge?
retook it on Chrome because it sucked.
They at least changed the logo, but
I think they're using the Chromium
Yeah.
now for it, or at least in the upcoming one.
Yeah, no, it's
the
just
update.
it's just Microsoft's way, I guess. They want to take out the competition.
How dare they?
How dare they? Bags of money.
Well, speaking of children of the 80s, does anybody remember when video games had used MIDI for audio?
Yes.
Old 8-bit tunes.
Mm-hmm.
All those chip tunes.
Yep.
That's pretty
What do you
good.
guys-
Keyboard and some circuit boards, right?
Well, it depending on your sound card, as they started to improve sound cards, so what MIDI is it's just data being sent to like a tone generator synthesizer, and depending on the chip you have in your sound card, it would send the same data, but it would be as if you were playing the same song with different instruments. So if you have an upgraded synthesizer, it's going to keep improving with the sound. So, but now, of course, we have 200 gigabyte game files that, have actual audio files in them. They've kind of gone away from the MIDI to generate the score and the sound effects and everything.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you can have almost full orchestras built into your laptop.
Right, and there's sampling that they use, recording actual instruments, actual voice lines instead of trying to synthesize them with the limited number of voices that you have on whatever synthesizer or sound card you have.
I remember having to program. I had this game. It was an old Indiana Jones game. I had to configure the sound card, or what was it, like a Sound Blaster Pro or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and configure it to the right, like, what do they call it, like IRQ number or something, so that the computer knew to use the sound card instead of the game, like, MIDI sound or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. You can do a lot of that with was it DOSBox now? That emulates a
I don't
lot
know.
of those old games.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sound design has come such a long way
Mhm.
in games. Like I didn't start playing computer games again until like I got Borderlands 2 when I was thinking like 2012 or something, 2013, whenever it came out.
Hmm.
And I was just so blown away by the graphics, but also just the sound. And just remembering, the last game I had played, I think was like on a PlayStation 2. I just remember being so blown away by the sound. And that's
Sound
like a big,
is,
that's a real important part of it to me.
Yeah.
Not just the soundtrack or the score, but the quality of the sounds, like gun sounds, explosions.
I remember very first time I got surround sound headphones, and I was playing SOCOM 2 on PlayStation 2, and in the middle of a gunfight, a grenade blew up behind me, and it made me stand up out of my chair, and I'm
Give
like,
you-
what the hell just happened?
Give you PTSD.
Oh my god, yeah.
He had to go change his pants. It was crazy.
Dude, it was just like insane. And just
Well,
to be able to hear like footsteps running by you, I was so blown away. I was like, what the hell is this?
Well, be prepared to continue to be blown away with what they're coming out with now. You talk about like ray traced graphics. They're actually working on ray traced audio.
What
Spatial audio or something like
Yeah.
that.
being like an audiophile as you are, Greg, what
I'm
is
not
your
an audiophile.
He's a human being.
okay, being like in the know when it comes to sound design, what do you think of like the stuff they're hyping up for the new sound design on the PS5 and stuff? Like the immersiveness of it and everything.
You
You
talking
think
about
it's
like
actually-
the 3D audio?
Yeah, like what is that actually going to add to a game?
I mean, I don't know much about specifically the Sony's. I think it's Tempest 3D Audio Tech, or Audio Tech is what they're calling theirs. It's a proprietary for the PlayStation, but as far as I understand, it's akin to like Dolby Atmos and DTSX, where it's, I think they call it object-based sound. Like you have sound objects. So think of like a stereo system. You've got your left speaker and your right speaker. So in order to create an effect of location, you would be panning from left and right. And also like a 5.1 or 7.1 system, you would also have front left, front right, rear left, rear right, center, and a subwoofer. With 3D audio, and I don't know how it works in so-called surround sound headphones. I personally think that's a gimmick, but with like Dolby Atmos, you would have like it would be a 7.1, 0.2 or 0.4 system, which would mean 7 speakers on the ground level, like at ear level, 1 subwoofer, and a 7.1.4 system would be your 7 surround speakers at ear level, your subwoofer, which is the 1, and then the 0.4 would be a top left, top right, rear left, rear top left, and rear top right. So you have like an added layer, like an added dimension. That's why it's called 3D audio. So instead of just having left, right, up and down, you now have left, right, up, down, back, and forward. So that's where the 3D audio comes in. And as far as I understand, the Xbox and the PlayStation will both the new consoles. Well, I think Xbox already has that. The Xbox One,
Atmos or whatever.
at least with well, I think some games do use it, but I know that their Blu-ray player does.
So,
Um,
will I need actual like a surround sound speaker set up in my house to take advantage of this feature, or is this something that I will notice just coming out of my TV?
Again, I don't know about headphones. Well, you can have they make sound bars that can take advantage of it. So instead of having like actual like either ceiling speakers or height speakers as they call them, you have speakers that have like forward facing speakers plus ceiling facing speakers, so it would bounce the sound off of the ceiling to create a similar effect. And they have sound bars that have that too, but as far as I know, that no TV manufacturers have included that into their TV designs.
I kind of want to go back to the music aspect, though, because like music, I've always thought music in video games always gave the ambiance, gave the feel of that specific game. And a great example, honestly, I just love the series. Honestly, Halo, like everybody knows that riff, that Steve Vai riff when it comes on. You know, like everybody knows it.
Iconic.
What is it? Forward Unto Dawn, or is it
something like that? But like, if you think about that, like that particular riff defined what that game is to some people, and I think that's just so cool.
Breaking
you could just
Bad
walk
has
into a
its
room
song
and you could just do the chorus part at the beginning of the Halo theme, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody
Like,
will follow.
Like those videos of dudes in like bathrooms.
Yeah,
the bathroom choir audio? It's phenomenal, and Halo was the one that started that trend because it's so good. It's so iconic.
Jimmy, what are you saying about Breaking Bad?
Were you referring to the Breaking Bad Halo theme song?
What? No.
There's a song that Breaking Bad either redid or not Breaking Bad, Breaking Benjamin. Sorry.
I was say Breaking Bad was a good show.
Oh yeah, Blow Me Away. Yeah,
Yeah, Blow Me Away.
that's
Like, every time I hear it, I think of Halo.
Well, they did that one song in Halo 2 at the very end.
Blow Me Away.
That's what that was.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I mean,
Steve Vai
audio
version.
can change the game.
That
It's
version.
if you have one. I don't know how to define it really, but I know hopefully everyone knows what I'm talking about. In horror games, it's the string, the high-pitched squealing strings.
Mhm.
What always reminds me of is the opening sequence in Insidious, the movie.
Oh yeah.
That violin,
Exactly.
string, whatever, is just nails on chalkboard, hair-raising, terrifying. If you take that away from horror games, what do you have? I mean, you've got... If you play a horror game without sound, you got nothing, man.
Have you ever watched a horror movie without any of the sound editing? I mean, it's just not scary without it.
Sound is so important.
Yeah.
But great point for defaced this Halo soundtrack. What's I kind of want to know what everyone's favorite game soundtrack is. If you guys know off the top of your head, at least.
I do.
What you got?
So, best game track, in my opinion, is a game called Life is Strange. I don't know if anyone's ever played it.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've heard of
But
it.
I love the soundtrack of that. There's just the
Oh,
game itself is really fun, and it's a powerful game in a way. Like for some people, it's a great story, and the soundtrack like helps just make the game. It's like I don't know, it just gives you the feels.
My favorite soundtrack is they just redid this game, Tony Hawk 1, Tony Hawk 2. The soundtrack just adds so much to it. It just sets the mood, sets the element for Skate.
Just a bunch of grunge and punk rock.
Exactly.
Because as soon as people knew that game was being remastered, was Superman going to be in it? Was the big question.
What about you, Aaron? You got a particular soundtrack you like for some games? Any
you can't
genre
go
or
wrong.
moment defining?
You can't go wrong with the PS1 era Final Fantasy games. Those soundtracks are incredible. I
I
think
agree with that.
the one that came to mind as like the best combo of like how much was the game emphasizing it and how well was it used actually is Heavy Rain. Just the whole tense atmosphere, and because obviously it's the QuickTime event game, so it's
Yeah.
all about choice and the tension of the situation, and they nailed it. That game, I played it the first time. I played it overnight in one sitting, about 6 hours, and I just was blown away the entire time.
No, I can't remember. That one's who makes that game? Do you know off the top of your head?
That's Quantic Dream. They made
Okay.
Beyond Two
Detroit
Souls.
Become Human.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to, if you
It's
want to go with,
similar
Right.
play style to Life is Strange.
Yep.
if you want to go with an iconic soundtrack, I mean, boo doo 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 doo.
Well, yeah, of course, is Mario.
I don't know that one. Oh, that was your attempt at Mario. Okay, sorry.
Right.
What am I missing here on this?
I'm unfamiliar.
Chiptune.
I mean, but exactly, 8-bit sound was able to produce a soundtrack so iconic.
Well, it's because it was so simple, and that's all that all they had to work with.
Simplicity reigns, man.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They could.
I
have
would
more
say,
complicated.
I would definitely say, by far Halo's probably my favorite, but like a close second is, believe it or not, probably Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
I maybe
Nope.
it may be
Skyward Sword.
controversial, but Skyward Sword is my favorite Zelda.
Yes,
I know
Yeah,
it's
I
a
don't-
very hot take.
Like
it
a,
is. I
a
love
moody
it.
soundtrack that I would say really sets the mood for me would be Silent Hill 2. I don't know what it is, but that ambient noise in that, whoever
Mhm.
made that, it's the scariest thing I've ever heard.
What about you, Greg? What do you got? You got a soundtrack that comes to mind?
I was just going to ask you what your favorite was.
Honestly, I'd say probably Dark Souls. The Dark Souls just series. One of my favorite intros is,
Yes.
and it gets me every time. It's walking into the doors for the Abyss Watchers fight. That soundtrack for Abyss Watchers is, I will say, my favorite song in any game I've ever played.
That's a good one.
It is just, and it's a similar theme I'm noticing with a lot of these. It's the instrumental, the orchestral, just driving instrumental soundtracks. It's,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it just fits.
I'm just going to go ahead and say you're all wrong.
Oh, all right.
The best soundtrack, hands down, is Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ooh.
Also excellent.
Never.
Guys, I'm going to lay it out, though. I think I've got the one that's going to beat all of you.
Uh-oh.
It's obviously Guitar Hero.
Oh, man.
That's the
Another
kind
game
of
that-
cheating I didn't
not
think
when you
you'd have
play it.
on this show, Aaron.
Another game that
My
has
favorite soundtrack is just every song.
Another game that has a surprisingly diverse and yet amazing soundtrack is World of Warcraft. Every single zone in that game has a different atmosphere based on the sound and the music.
know,
Like
that's-
you approach
that's-
Ice Crown Citadel, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah, that's a good
That's
point.
another aspect of sound design where you have certain areas of the map, certain events that happen in the game that will trigger certain stems of, like you've got music playing in the background, but then
Bring on certain
suddenly
emotions.
you come upon a certain area or a certain event happens, and a string element of the track will come in, and there's so many things that they can do with that in the future. I mean, think about, like we were talking about, the 3D sound, and so you got like Dolby Atmos, like that kind of 3D sound, plus like I was talking about, ray tracing audio, where like you think of ray tracing like in graphics, it's the same principle where, say you're walking down a hallway and there's a piano playing in a great hall, and then you walk down a narrow hallway away from the hall, and you can still hear the piano, and instead of just the volume going down as you walk away, it's also reverberating around the walls, and depending on the material, like if there's carpet, or and you turn another corner, those sound waves bounce off in real life. They bounce off all these angles and these materials, and it gives it a different unique sound. That's just ray tracing audio will affect the sound the same way it affects light in video games. And so I think, like, as far as like VR or like a holodeck type thing, like in the in the further on future. I just think it's really exciting to think about what's possible with
Well, I mean,
games.
yeah, I mean, sometimes it seems like difference between a really good game and a great game is the sound effects that are created and the soundtrack and all this stuff, because it creates, like you guys said, it creates a certain ambiance or atmosphere for certain aspects of the game.
Would
If you
Killing
don't-
Floor 2 be the same without that soundtrack?
What about
Probably
Doom
not.
2016?
I was gonna
Exactly.
pose a similar question. It's way far back. I don't even remember how many years ago it came out. Probably mid 2010s. Way far back is kind of an exaggeration. A game that I don't think would have existed without the audio. Limbo. You guys remember Limbo?
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Oh,
straight black
absolutely.
and white game. There's nothing but the soundtrack. The audio was just. It
Yeah.
it made
And,
it.
and not even the music, but like just the gruesome
sound
sound
effects.
effects of the guys
Yeah,
being
the
killed, or
ambiance,
the
the-
spiders, or
Yeah.
Yeah, just walking through.
the
Just
slime
leaves.
and the swamps.
Yeah.
Have you ever
They-
Have you ever
Go ahead.
seen how they actually make some of those sound effects for like movies and the video games? It's not exactly what you'd think it is. Like they're like taking
Mhm.
cups and putting putty in them and squirting it around and stuff.
they-
and it's,
Hitting a dude in the belly with a spatula.
They've been doing
It's-
creative things with sound effects ever
Yeah,
since like
Rochambeau
Looney
in the
Tunes.
Yeah.
It's been around. I mean, since H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, when they did the radio broadcast of
Yeah.
it. They did it so well that people thought the world was actually being invaded.
Mhm.
But that's entirely different. One was thinking, I have no actual dialogue. Everything is the vocals are actual trumpets. Of course, I draw a blank as soon as I bring it up. Don't Starve.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Don't Starve. There's no vocals. The vocals, when someone speaks, the text pops up. It's a trumpet or some other brass instrument.
So that goes like with sound effects, and like does a game that has no, like, do you ever play a game where your character doesn't speak? Does that bother anyone at all? Like where
I
you just
like
have to
Zelda.
read your-
Yeah.
I mean, look at Dark Souls. All the lore. There's no lore whatsoever. It's all implied through item descriptions and other like insignificant ways of like, not insignificant, but other like in like small details hidden here, hidden there throughout the world.
Subtle.
Gordon
Yes.
Freeman.
But I
Enough
feel
said.
like a character having a voice in a game helps create a personality to me. Like it creates more of a connection with a character.
Yeah,
Well,
with
how do
Dark
you
Souls, I think
feel-
it's a little bit different because, like, I don't know, there's something mysterious about those characters to me. Like, I'm not a big Dark Souls person. I haven't played the games very much, but that sort of character, it just seems like. But like in like a Far Cry, where all the other NPCs talk, everybody's got a voice except for your character.
Yeah.
That bothers me.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're borderline approaching the topic. Are games works of art?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's-
don't think
that's-
that's a big debate.
That's
I
not even
think-
debate.
I
100%.
think that the biggest game for that is the one that Adam Sandler made a movie about, and it's what's the name called?
Pixels.
No, the one where he's depressed and he's playing it and he has to kill this.
Grown ups.
No, the other
Yeah.
one.
He has kids.
You have to kill
what,
like
on-
16 giant monsters.
that-
Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh.
That game, the character.
Adam
doesn't talk.
Sandler made a movie about Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
Please elaborate.
What movie?
You need
Yeah,
you
don't
need to
put it.
you need to bring some.
Eight
Shadow-
Crazy Nights? What?
I'll look it up.
That's a technical foul, Davey.
Oh my god, I love that
Wow,
movie.
Jimmy's looking that up. Maze, I want to bring that back to you. How do you feel about games like Fallout? Fallout, you have text, but you have no voice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I was a huge Fallout fan, and it bothers me, but I still enjoy the game. So, I mean, Fallout won't be one of my favorite games because I can't get that attachment or to the character that I feel with some other ones. Like, I'll go back to one of my favorite games, like I said, Mass Effect. The character, him talking, his facial expressions in the first three, all this stuff helps you build more of a relationship with this character. I feel like that's, the voice acting, a great voice actor really can, they really propel that character forward, make you care about
Nolan
them
North
more.
has entered the chat.
Reign Over Me is the
Nolan
movie.
North, man.
Oh,
See,
okay.
I'm the complete opposite of all of you guys, I guess, because I feel like a quiet protagonist makes
Yep.
you feel like you are that character. And when I play a game like Half-Life 2
Yeah.
or even Half-Life, like I am Gordon Freeman. I am
Halo, Master Chief.
killing a shit
Can
ton
I,
of zombies.
Can I
and
also counter that point? I think that if Link ever speaks, it will be worse.
exactly.
I think I'm going to agree with you, DeFaced. It's easier to immerse yourself in the game when for me
Doom
personally,
Guy.
it's easier.
Doom Guy.
Doom Guy. Yeah.
When I played, going back to like sound and stuff, like when I played Doom 2016, like I felt like Doom Guy, and when that music kicked in, when Gordon, what is his name, Mick Gordon, his soundtrack kicked in,
Speaking of
just like-
soundtracks, my God,
Oh,
I was
Doom.
like, I gotta rip and tear, like I gotta destroy everything as this character because I am this character.
Whip out the BFG, man.
This is me, super shotgun all the way.
If you
No,
guys
there-
ever want to be blown away and just totally, if you want to watch something interesting, watch Mick Gordon. I don't think it was a TED Talk. I think it was just like some seminar that he was giving on sound design, and his work on Doom 2016, and him listening to him talk about it. And there is so much, and it is so fascinating. There's so much to it. Like there's this synthesizer that uses images. Like you could import, and I've got a synthesizer like this that I've tried out before, but I don't really know how it works. But you can import an image, like a photograph, and it'll create certain sounds from whatever image you put into it. And he put all kinds of crazy shit in there, and I think like 666, and there were people who, like data miners, they found it, and like the Christian crowd just got so upset about the devil in video games. It was just so interesting hearing him talk about how he made certain sounds and some of the music in that game.
I mean,
I'm not sure if you're aware of the, how it actually works, but does it, decode like the pixels in an image and just base sound off that?
I really don't know.
Okay.
I've seen it. Like I've got some software that's got like hundreds of different types of synthesizers, and I just saw it. And when I watched his presentation, he was using something similar. I don't have any idea how it works.
I mean, just look at okay, if the guy in Skyrim had his own spoken story, it changes that game fundamentally from it being your fantasy where you create whatever it is you want to now it's on rails.
I think it depends on the game.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
That's a
like
good point.
Skyrim, Dark Souls, Doom, those characters, they have like a mystery to, and maybe it's because they don't have a voice. Maybe I'm just, but like going back to Far Cry again, these are like everyday sort of characters, like in Far Cry 3, you're just like this American kid that got thrown into a bizarre situation. Whereas in Dark Souls, you don't get that vibe. In Doom and Skyrim, these aren't just everyday ordinary people. There's something special about them. So there's like some mystery built into that. I think it just depends on the game to me.
I can agree. I get what you're saying, but I think that simple decision to say, okay, he's going to be whatever you make him to be, and by not giving him a voice, I just think that's very powerful.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Thank you.
Wake me when you need me.
Awkward.
So, how about that weather outside?
Sure was damp today.
Oh, I was muted. I said Master Chief does have a voice.
He does?
Technically, yeah. Like one line per game.
Yeah. That's
Well,
why I said wake me when you need me, because that's the last line in Halo 3.
So
Oh.
that's kind of funny that you say that, because anyway, big Destiny. Well, I used to be a huge Destiny player. Kind of stopped lately, but it's funny. You go through all these games, your character never talks until a certain huge event happens. I won't say
Yeah.
what in case you're still playing it, but and that was a pretty cool point when he did speak, because it kind of gets you jacked up. You're oh shit, man, that guy spoke.
Like Warframe, your characters don't speak in Warframe either.
Underrated game.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know where characters speak a little bit too much, I think, is that new Avengers game. It's a very sappy
Haven't played
story,
it.
and I think they need to shut up.
Nobody
I
has.
need to play it.
Let me equip a piece of gear and still look
It
the
is-
same.
They did have
Is
a
it
beta
like
out.
Mankind Divided has more players than Avengers? Is that it?
Avengers is an interesting topic. It's Square Enix's attempt at breaking into the movie market, but as we all know, no movie game has ever done well. Actually, no. Take the back.
Two Towers.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man has done very well, but that's a common.
Towers on the GameCube.
Oh
Excellent game.
no, all three of them really.
Yeah.
The
Lord of the
first,
Rings
second, and
games.
third, man. Return of the King, that intro fight where you. I'm getting off topic. Regardless, yeah, Marvel. I'm not really sure anyone was uncertain that it wouldn't do well. Or sorry, I'm not really sure many people thought it would do well. It was a cash grab, and that was kind of obvious.
I just want to note one game, the best movie tie-in game ever, GoldenEye 007.
That's up there.
That was a good one.
Can't argue with that.
Fair enough.
I mean, you can, but
You'd be
That
wrong.
was right at the end of my video gaming days before I hit my 20s.
I mean, we could go with Superman 64.
But regardless, the Marvel game is interesting. It's what I believe it was originally pitched as was an open world single player role playing game where you could change off as the Marvel characters and had co-op. What I believe ended up getting released, I haven't played it because there's no way in hell I'm spending my money on that thing,
Yep.
is, from my understanding, tough to say, a multiplayer game that you cannot progress the main story without someone else. However, the last player count I saw, they had less than like 10,000 concurrent players for a
Nice.
brand new Square Enix AAA game. How are you supposed to progress multiplayer when the matchups you have to be of similar level? You have to be queuing for the same mission because the quick mission button apparently didn't work. So you couldn't quick mission with someone. You had to auto select your mission and hope that one of the 5 to 10,000 players were on the same level as you and wanted to do the same mission as you. And there's apparently a fair number of QuickTime events in that. Ton of microtransactions. It's just an absolute clusterfuck.
It has 2,416 players right now.
Oh, jolly good show, my dude.
That's
jolly good.
insane.
What is the deal with that?
Mankind
I wish-
Divided only has 332 though.
I was trying to say, two of the biggest complaints with the game is the fact that you get all types of gear upgrade, but whenever you put them on, nothing happens to your character.
Yeah, all
there
of
is-
your stuff is percentage based, I believe, and there is absolutely
Passive
no.
abilities,
Yeah,
all passive upgrades,
there's absolutely
Right.
no
and all the multiplayer
cosmetic
maps
change.
are literally snippets from the single player game where you're told to hold like a rectangular area, and all you have to do is just hold and defend that area, and then boom, you're done. Rinse and repeat over and over and over again.
Well, I hear the game becomes way more fun if you are a Verizon or Virgin Mobile subscriber.
Ooh, do tell. I haven't heard this.
Yeah, this is news to me.
Well, no, they came out with like day one exclusive skins if you were a Verizon customer or a Virgin customer, and I think there was a Five Gum has a campaign that they're marketing in that game.
Oh God, I love to play
They
this
have
Five
costumes?
Gum character in my Marvel game. Tell me more how to
know.
become Five Gum Man.
What do you have to link
That's
your
it.
Verizon account to your?
Okay,
Razor
not
gum.
knowing,
Do I
Not
have to
knowing
show a receipt for
much-
Five Gum to get the Five Gum
Maybe.
skin?
not
I
knowing
have
much
no
about
idea.
the Marvel universe, is the girl with the stretchy arms and everything, is she canon or is she brand new to
Yeah.
the game?
Kamala, she's
Con, yeah.
she's relatively new in terms of Marvel, but she's before this game.
Okay, so she is canon. She's not like this is her first introduction to the universe.
Kamala Khan first
Is
appeared
it
in
Miss
2013 in Captain Marvel. Captain
Okay.
Marvel number 13, August of 2013. No, she's not brand new. She wasn't designed for this game.
I just never seen her anywhere. So
It seems like I have no room to speak on this one, but it seems like she was a smaller name character, so interesting to add her in.
Mm.
I don't know her story at all. I'm not a huge comic book reader.
So at least in terms of that game, I did watch like the entire long play of it, of the story, and I did enjoy her character. I think she, was well written and acted, like a lot of the characters.
That's the thing.
story
It
is where
seems like it
shines.
was fairly well designed. They have Travis Willingham as Thor, which I'm a big fan of what he does. I like his work. And Thor's gameplay seemed like it was interesting. With you're able to throw your hammer through. I mean, it clips through walls and everything, and that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, full action game with built-in quick time events as just your regular combat is okay. I think Spider-Man pulled it off much better.
God of War does it right.
God of War, exactly. I don't think it fit as well. The mandatory multiplayer for single player, the missions just falling apart, the lack of a player base, microtransactions everywhere.
So imagine paying $70 for that now.
Imagine paying, there you go. Yeah, holy
Tying
shit.
it all back together.
Now, there
No
was one
way.
thing I did see a few days ago that they are releasing a massive patch, a huge update for it. So hopefully it has some kind of future.
It's
I can't
gonna
say-
need to go down the No Man's Sky route if it ever plans to recover.
It's a
And I
AAA
think-
title. It's a big AAA game. If it flops, they're going to leave it because they can afford to.
I think that
Hello
the right
Games didn't have
studio-
that option.
I think that the rights. Honestly, I think that they're going to try to rework it. Look at what Square did with Final Fantasy 14. I don't think they're going to
That's
let
a
their
very
money
good
out to
point.
dry.
Yeah, you got a point.
It's not a license you want to just abandon, because then it makes the
Yeah.
rest
No,
of their
not at all.
their projects look like they're going to be abandoned.
Well, and Final Fantasy is their baby. Like,
That's true. I mean, Square Enix and Final Fantasy go hand in hand.
like that's some old school Japanese honor type stuff
still
right
think,
there, because it's theirs.
I still think you have a better chance of it turning around with this company than maybe a smaller company.
Maybe it'll go the
I-
way of Battlefront 2.
I would
Yeah.
see. I actually like Battlefront 2. I played that quite a bit when it first came out. Battlefront 2 was good.
Was that a Square Enix game?
No.
Oh, that was EA. Yeah, what am I thinking?
Yeah, no. Battlefront 2 was. I liked it. I did. I played it for a while when it first came out. It was Battlefront 1 that had the that whole shitstorm of you have to spend like $1,400 or something like that to unlock every character, or it was 1,400 hours, but it was just insane unless you wanted to buy it all. And
I think
they
that
had
was true.
gameplay of it was Vader launching into one, and this guy spent like $300 on the game to get all the cards and unlock all the heroes, and he ended up going like 50-1 in the game, and it's like, oh yeah, no, money's not going to win you this one, right? But
Yeah.
they listened on Battlefront 2. I played it and I had a great time. I did. I
It's a good
sucked.
game.
I was terrible at it, but I liked it. Yeah, that's companies abandoning games is always interesting.
What's a good example of an abandoned game? Battle Rate? That game shut down really quick.
That's
I
the
don't even know
thing.
what that is.
Did you say Battle Right or
It- it wa-
Battleborn?
Battle Right. It was a 3v3.
Battleborn.
Battle Right was a 3v3 MOBA style game that was literally just 3v3 team fight, go. And there was a big esports scene around it and everything. It was hyped to hell. And it came out, flopped, and they shut down the servers within like 60 days.
Oh,
What was that
What's that
game,
Chris Polinsky game? Lawbreakers.
Yep.
Man,
Mm.
okay. That game, I actually like that game. Hot take. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a more mature Quake style Overwatch, and I loved that. That's just me, I guess.
But it did
I'm,
flop.
I'm sad. I'm sad that one failed like it did.
What is that one game from? What is his name? Marcus something. He's an ex Bungie developer. He designed all of the Halo games. He made some kind of like game based around riding a speeder or something.
Yes, and it just flopped.
Disintegration? Is that what it is?
I think it is.
No.
Oh yeah, yeah, the little hover scooter where you fly around the
Yeah,
battlefield and tell
they're
your
just
ally.
like-
That's Disintegration. Yeah.
Disintegration.
And they're just like, yep, it's not successful. We're shutting it all down.
Right now, Disintegration on Metacritic 6.2.
That's higher than what I thought.
I just remember everybody was like, this guy designed Halo. He designed all the art and everything for Halo. It's like, yeah, but he didn't design the gameplay.
That
He
game
just
only
kind
came out
of
in June of this year.
and it's already dead.
Games Radar says 40. Don't be surprised if this game flops hard.
I honestly doubt he's gonna make another game.
Look at like a game like All Points Bulletin.
I don't know
There's
what that is.
there's a guy. It's an MMO. It was before GTA Online.
Oh, I know what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a guy called, I forget, he does this Death of the Game series, and he talks about all these abandoned games.
Mhm.
The Nerd Slayer, I think he's called on YouTube. Good watch if you want to follow some good documentaries. But that game had over $400 million invested into it by two different companies. One that bought it when it was flopping the first time, and then they released it free to play, and the first company that actually invested in creating it. That's how hard games can flop. All the money in the world can't make a success.
Anyone ever played Hellgate London?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
What's that
Game
about?
That's what I was thinking of.
Like it was bought out like 3 different times, and now it just has a following over in like South Korea or something, and there's like no players on it, and it was made by ex Blizzard devs that worked on Diablo 2, and it was a big deal, and
It's a shame.
mhm.
You know, all that talent and all that time that they probably put into that.
It looked good when it came out. Fun.
Actually, it's kind of funny. There's a game I thought that was abandoned or was like rumored to exist, but was never confirmed. Was that new Harry Potter game? Because a couple years ago, we all saw that like minute and a half footage of like just some gameplay, and it blew me away. I'm a Harry Potter freak, but and I know that they just like officially announced it at the PS5 showcase. So anybody know what the deal with that is?
Best Harry Potter game ever was that Quidditch game. You flew around an arena. Don't remember what it was called. Quidditch something.
Quidditch World Cup.
Quidditch World Cup, best game ever.
On the GameCube.
Spent hours and hours and hours on that on the PS2.
This Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy will be the very first game that J.K. Rowling has no interaction with whatsoever.
Yeah.
Probably for the best. That's probably for the best.
Yeah,
I
some
think it
reasoning
is.
behind it without getting into political type stuff.
No.
here.
I'm talking about the story of the game and the prequel and everything like that.
Mhm.
I think that it's actually good that she's hands off because it gives them so much more creativity to
yeah.
work with, and she can't just be like, "No, I don't like it. Bye.
Right.
Get it out of my game." Because
Right.
from my understanding, is some of like the Deathly Hallows games, they actually wanted to push the boundary with some of the stuff they were doing, and she wouldn't allow it. Not with my franchise.
Have you seen The
Makes
Cursed
sense,
Child?
No, because yeah,
Yeah.
Broomstick League.
that's their baby. That's her
Broomstick
baby.
League,
So
yes.
sometimes it's hard
Yeah.
to let
Yeah.
others do
Right.
something maybe that you might not agree with.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to change the story or you want to change certain elements of it, why not just make your own thing?
Yeah, right.
You
And
know,
that's exactly what
her
they're doing.
universe that
Well-
she created. So I don't
Mhm.
understand.
Jimmy, I think you know more about this than I think.
Oh,
most of us
12-year-old
do,
me
but
12-year-old me went nuts when I heard the announcement. I mean, I was watching the trailer and I was just losing it in my head. This is going to be amazing. I am hoping and praying that it's some type of multiplayer co-op game.
It's
don't
not.
think- It's not.
No, they confirmed it's not single player only.
I didn't.
Isn't-
I mean, that's fine too.
Where did you? I want to double check that because everything I've researched about it, there's no answer yet. Not as far as
Up
I've
on
seen.
Reddit a while back, a few days
Okay.
ago.
Actually, I thought that one of the questions surrounding it was, is this going to be an MMO?
That's the other thing I wanted to know about.
I mean, it's certainly doable, but
It- And some of the combat systems in the trailer look amazing for a wizard-based magic type game. It looks really cool.
yeah. I hope they do it right too, because especially
Yeah.
the Harry Potter series is like
expectation.
riddled with bad franchise movie games, and as
I'm
nostalgic as
hoping
like the
that-
early ones are, you know.
The thing I think is going to make or break it is because they're going to have you go into classes and do spells and learn and everything. Is it going to be gimmicky? How is that part of the game going to play out? Because that is the fantasy that most kids or most people that read the books want to live out. Combat, I can get that in any game ever. I want to live out being a Hogwarts student, learning how to do potions, learning how to do Alohomora, learning how to like Expelliarmus. I want to learn all that in a fun minigame kind of setting, but that's not rinse and repeat, not repetitive, and not just mind-numbingly dumb.
So, brief
Right.
question: did you ever play? It's my favorite in the series. I thoroughly enjoy it. Did you ever play the fifth game, The Order of the Phoenix?
No, I didn't.
It
And
was-
you mentioned this to me the other day, just
Yeah,
out of
it was-
casual conversation, and it's won my wish. I want to go back and re-experience it. I really do.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's the open world castle and the grounds around the castle.
Yep.
There's mini games involved. The spells, you don't like bind a spell to a controller or a keyboard. It was I don't believe it was on PC. I don't know off the top of my head. I played it on the PlayStation. You actually cast your spells by targeting something, and then it was the stick. You
Like
To do,
swishing
like-
and flicking it with
yeah,
the spell,
swishing and
right?
flicking. There was one for like the block, the shield spell. You
The
like
almost-
spun the joystick in a circle and you made the shield, and you had to get it right each time. You had to memorize. It was like muscle memory, getting all
That-
these spells mapped on the joystick. There was no
That's-
buttons, and you had like 15 spells that you could choose from. It was
That sounds really
fantastic.
Cool. That sounds really cool, but this is more like an RPG style game, and I wonder how that would play over the course of time, where your 10,000th time casting this spell at max level is okay. I'm flicking my thumb again. How fast can I flick my thumb to go through all these combinations of spells? You know what I think would be a really cool play style for it? It's in an obscure game. It's called Magicide or Magicide, Magica.
Mhm.
And in that,
Oh,
what you do is say you have a controller. So X is your fire, square is your ice, triangle is your lightning, circle is your wind. It goes along the line of spell break, which is kind of popular right now. So you can go X square circle and you cast a lightning ball that's on fire that goes really far because it went through wind. You can go circle,
Right.
circle, circle and cast a big giant tornado. Like you can mix and match your spells on the fly. I think they even incorporated this into a hero in Dota.
Yeah.
Where like the guy plays completely different based on your keyboard inputs. And that just to me sounds like a really way of complex yet simplified combat.
Well, I think that would make for a fun game, but I think if you're going to
Low
stick with the
skill
Harry
floor,
Potter series, the
high skill
idea,
ceiling, yeah,
well, in the Harry Potter world, though, the idea of creating your own spells was extraordinarily rare. So I don't,
Mhm.
just to stick with
True.
the consistency of the world, I don't think it would work in that game. But I love Magica. I think it's a great game. You know,
That's what I'm trying to say is like that style of magic doing spellcasting is a very comprehensive way of incorporating magic into a video game.
I think we'll just have to wait and see more. Honestly, at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it's not lock on, hit square to shoot, hit circle to dodge. You know, I just hope it's not generic combat. I want it to
Yeah.
be something more,
right?
but I don't know how
So-
they incorporate that. I'm
I don't know.
definitely I'm gonna put a pin in this, and I
Yeah.
will keep us updated as we
Please,
go on.
I'm very interested. Actually,
Yeah, this
my
is
big
this
game.
is definitely one to come back to later once we get more. It's
Yeah, once we get more information, I will be on it.
Yep. I've never played the fifth one, but the biggest one for me was the second one, and recently I actually downloaded it on the on the Dolphin emulator because I've still got my disc, but my GameCube is broken. And actually, the big thing with that is there's a big Nintendo thing going on about, like, you know how the last 10, 15 years they've, like, gone after, like, emulators and ROM hackers and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess there were some people that were selling, it's called Uber Chips is the company. They sold products from, like, this hacker group. They're called Executor, like with an X. And
Like the Pokemon?
the story, yeah, the story is actually really funny because so they sued them for selling products that allowed you to hack the Switch and play pirated games, right? So since it's a settlement, the circumstances around the court case don't normally reach the public. Well, ironically, the reason the public knows about it is because the big website Torrent Freak actually data mined the information and got it out to the public. So now we know that they had to settle for $2 million. And not only that, but they had to give up, they had to shut down their operations immediately. They had to destroy their current inventory. And they had to give them their domain name. Like that even, would affect Nintendo. Like, it was pretty brutal. So
Wait,
they just have
so
this,
the
like...
company, Nintendo one, or the Uber
Nintendo
Chips
one.
website one? Okay. Because I was about to
Nintendo
say,
one.
$2 million from Nintendo is a drop in the bucket.
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo
No,
does
but-
not often lose.
Right, but to that, to the company that was trying to sell pirating stuff,
You
obviously
do know
it
that
ruined it.
if you sign a contract to make a video game for Nintendo and you do not meet their whatever expectations of quality, they will sue you into the ground for the money that they gave you to make the video game.
Yeah. Did they do that to the studio where they scrapped Metroid Prime 4?
I think that was one of the ones that
Before
they
Retro?
threatened action against.
I don't think they're suing them or threatening them. I think they just.
I don't think it was that
re-
ugly.
I think they're just
Either they sue
reworking it.
them or they ask for recuperation of their money somehow. They get a
Huh.
portion of whatever they invest into the studio back.
I just I just know that they had gone back to the drawing board and actually brought in Retro to help make it again, which is awesome.
Right.
Because
Yeah, I'm excited.
they're awesome.
Well, everyone, we
Check
are
that
getting
out.
close to our time limit. Does everybody have any closing remarks on any of the topics we covered today?
If I could, I was actually, I think that the Nintendo Switch side of things is grossly undervisited, and if I could, I'd like to run through just a quick little set of snippets,
Go for it.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
Snip it away.
All right. Just real quick, today they announced the Minecraft characters Steve and Alex for Super Smash Brothers. Not really my cup of tea, but obviously it's going to make a lot of people happy. I am one of the people who can't believe that Waluigi is not in Smash, and I could discuss that topic for hours.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of my favorites. Also, Super Mario Brothers 35 dropped on the eShop today. I just downloaded it and I plan to play it tonight.
How much
You know
is
how
that?
it's free. No, it's like Tetris. You know how they did Tetris 99, the Battle Royale? It's literally it's playing Super Mario Brothers 1 Battle Royale, and you run through the every time you kill a Goomba, you can sabotage another player, or and it's 35
Oh,
it's
that's
35
cool.
people at a time. That's why obviously because of the 35th anniversary.
How long is that on the
Downloading
eShop?
it.
It came out today. It came out in Japan like yesterday, but today it's in the Western eShop.
Can you pick who can you actually pick who you're playing against? Could I play against
No.
you and Defaced, and so it's just completely random?
No, I don't think so. It's free on the eShop. You just hop in. It's a limited run game. I think it's 6 months, just like the Mario All Stars thing.
I hate that.
Yeah.
So after
Well,
6 months,
it might
you
not
lose
be
it?
because
Or you can't download it no more.
I'm not sure. Well, it's funny because they had a free game called Jump Rope Challenge, which all it is just jump roping with the Joy-Cons. It's like a get off the couch thing. That was supposed to have a limited run, but they just announced yesterday that they're going to continue supporting it. So hopefully this Super Mario 35 goes the same direction. But if you've ever played Tetris 99, it's exactly like that, except you're playing Super Mario Brothers 1.
My Switch has been
Um,
sitting in my daughter's backpack for the last 6 months.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull it out and play this.
yeah, it looks awesome. For the people, especially in our server, who still play Animal Crossing, this has been going around. The Halloween events start today. That goes obviously through the month. I don't know who else is listening. Hopefully, we have a lot of people from the server, but they have a lot of costumes, furniture, decorations you can make by gathering pumpkins and that sort of thing, participating in events. I personally look forward to it. Any fans of Pokemon, the Crown Tundra DLC is coming out October 22nd. The big selling point is obviously there's a new area to explore, and they are claiming to be bringing all of the legendary Pokemon from all the previous generations back, which is going to be their big push. The main one I heard was Dragonite, and I don't know if they're going to do Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, or Mew or Mewtwo, but we will wait and see. And I think that's all I've got for Nintendo.
Very nice.
Just got to make sure Nintendo's represented, man. I really want this thing to happen.
I got one thing on the Xbox and Halo front.
You've got
Hold on, one more thing about Nintendo. When are they going to get in the ray tracing game?
They're only doing ray traced audio.
That's an
Oh,
excellent
okay.
question.
Supposedly there is a new version of the Switch
lateral
coming out
move.
soon.
No, what they're going to do is they're going to come out with a new Joy-Con, and they're going to call it ray traced haptic feedback. It'll be the 4K HD Rumble.
just two shake weights.
Guaranteed
Yeah.
no stick drift.
Let's not go that far, Jimmy.
I mean, it's easily repairable. I've
Yeah.
done it to two.
Yeah, it
Joy-Cons.
is. It's not bad. I just replaced my fan and heatsink 2 days ago, and it worked
Well,
out great.
The ones that have come out, like the joysticks that have come out to replace them, are much better than the ones that originally came
Yeah.
out. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, Halo flighting for Halo 4 starts at the end of the month, so month of October. So, if you're planning on playing that, like I am, look out for that.
All right.
I will be.
I
Halo
love
4
Halo
and 5
4.
Halo 4 and 5 are also already available on xCloud if you have that.
This is true. Yes, but it's not PC.
Yeah. But they don't so they don't plan to put Halo 5 in that collection, right?
Who knows? Nobody knows. The speculation is they will add Halo 5 after they get all the other games added. And then they're going to add Halo 5 right before Infinite comes out to bridge the gap between all the games. But my argument with that is Gears of War. So,
That's a licensing issue. That's why they couldn't get 2 and 3.
oh, is it?
Yep.
Sucks.
I looked that up the other day because that is very near and dear to me.
That
Because
sucks.
Gears 2
I did
is my
download.
favorite.
I downloaded 2 and 3 on my Xbox the other day just to play them.
Yep.
Well, as we've been playing, ODST's Firefight and the Gears Horde mode lately, a fair number of us.
Yeah. Listen up,
Before we
server.
close out, I actually wanted to ask, what's everyone playing this week? Can we get game plugs? Aaron, you got any game plugs? Anything you've been really feeling?
I have a feeling that Jimmy's going to want to talk about Darksburg apart from Heroes of the Storm. So I will say I have tried Genshin Impact, only about an hour.
Okay.
Very pretty game. Yes, it's a ripoff of Breath of the Wild. Incredibly relaxing. Great to look at. If you need a game to mellow out, it's free. And from what I see of the monetization, it's not too bad so far.
All right. Blue, what you got?
I haven't played a lot this week. I'm looking forward to. We won't get into too much to it, but Baldur's Gate next week. This week I've just been mostly just playing the good old reliable Apex. New ranked split. They do split season during the season. They do a split, so you rank up half the season, and then it changes map, and you rank up. You play ranked matches again if you want, and it's the other map. That's all I've been really playing. I've only been a couple days this week.
All right, sounds good. DeFaced, what you got?
ODST all the way. It's
ODST, man.
it's one of my favorite Halo games in the entire series.
Can't go wrong. Been loving Firefight.
Oh yeah,
So
so good.
good time. Jimmy, What you been up to?
Might have to edit him in. He's AFK.
Wonderful. All right. Well,
okay.
Greg, what you got?
I've been playing Borderlands. Borderlands 2. I was playing Borderlands 3 earlier today. It's always a good
Anything
time
new?
for me.
Borderlands 2 or
Anything new?
Borderlands 3? Which one you got better?
Which one do I prefer?
Yeah.
I would have to say overall Borderlands 2, but I really like the I like the graphical upgrades in 3 are minor, but they're still nice. Just the story and the characters in 2 are just so much better. So I
Can't
have to
beat
go with
Handsome
3.
Jack, dude.
No.
Solid
You
voice
really
acting,
can't.
solid villain.
Yeah.
But would you have liked him without the voice acting as much? Oh.
No.
No, definitely not.
Mm-mm.
I'm with you on that one. Definitely not. Would have
Hey.
been a completely different character.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Jimmy, what you got for your game?
Well, I think you all know my game is Heroes of the Storm. I was coaching a team, and I have been asked to now coach another team of a much higher skill because apparently my videos got a little bit of publicity within the Heroes community, and people are starting to recognize that I know my stuff. So I'm excited because the pro scene kind of died, but we have a lot of esports companies dumping money into the game, and I'm going to officially be an analysis, doing an analysis
Analyst?
work for one of them. Yeah, an analyst for one of them, and I'm super hyped about it. Even though I'm not actually playing, I'm going to have some contribution to the pro scene, and it's really exciting for me.
Oh,
I
good
feel
on
like
you,
I-
man.
Awesome,
great.
man.
Yeah, I've worked a lot towards this, doing a lot of like replay reviews. But
Yeah,
other
I know
than
you're
that,
you're a big proponent of Heroes of the Storm, so that's definitely good on you, man.
I'm just super hyped for Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, can't go wrong with Baldur's Gate. It's gonna be huge, hopefully.
Um,
Got a plug. Just love me some Forza lately. Been rocking Forza Horizon 4. Love tearing through the countryside and weird, wacky ass cars.
You gotta get that motorsport, man, then we'll race.
I know. I'll take you out and lose. I'm fine with that.
Motorsport 7 is coming to Game Pass.
Is it really?
I'll wait till
Wow.
then.
Yep,
I'll try it
they
out.
just announced it the other day, and I believe it's coming to PC too.
I'll catch you in that Nuremberg ring then, Greg.
Yeah. gotta memorize it first.
Since Jimmy didn't mention it, I will plug Darksburg as well.
Sorry.
I hate roguelites. I'm not big into MOBAs, but I'm telling you, like playing a PvE only roguelite with co-op is excellent, and I'm really enjoying that game. It's only $10 right now, I think, until October 4th, so a couple days.
The strategy involved in it was actually quite surprising for even the easy mode that me and Perlek did earlier.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's a lot of fun. So
New plug
I
for
had to throw that
a
in there.
newish game, Darksburg. Go
I feel
try
like
it.
We're all going back to Halo and Borderlands. We need some fresh blood in here.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up for the Chill Gamers podcast. We're going to be uploading to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, you name it. We're getting out there. Give us a review. Give us a rating. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. If anybody has an interest, we have a Discord server, the Chill Gamers Discord server. Feel free to come on by.
Join it.
Join up. All right. See you, everybody.
Thanks.
Stay classy, San Diego.
See you, everybody.
Peace out.